Shelley Baur is here at Talk Shop today to talk about the marketing research that has helped her to shape and create a new 4-week course titled Honest Conversations, Finding Ourselves in a COVID New Normal, scheduled to launch this year in October. Shelley has taught value-based leadership skills at Federal Express, Medtronic Spine, Wright Medical, Service Master, Microport, Grupo IMSA, the University of Memphis, University of Tennessee, Mississippi State University, nonprofits, and many other organizations for the past 30 years. She says, I live for the breakthroughs, empowering people to realize their potential. Shelley brings passion to her workshops and coaching sessions. You might say that living on purpose is a guiding principle for her, adding, it wasn't always so. I've learned a lot over the years, and now I'm willing to share what I've learned on the journey from pain to purpose. Now I walk with, guide, and coach others who are ready to move into a life of mission and purpose. Was there ever a better time than now? For the past 20 years, Shelley has been married to the love of her life, John Baur, and is bonus mom to 2 adult children, Krista in New York and Jim in Chicago. Talk Shop, let's please help recommend and welcome Shelley Baur.
Wow. Good morning, Talk Shop, and thank you, my bestie, for that warm welcome. It's great to see you here as a live audience, and I welcome the Zoomers too. Let's give them a high five. Yes. Yay! For those of you who are here live, I've given you a handout, and there are more up here for the people who have come in late. It gives you the integrity-based communications habits to break and habits to make, as well as note-taking space on the back. And today, I want to give you a sample of what's being said by the 24 living and working people who have been in a COVID environment like all of us, and what each is doing to create a new normal, even as the pandemic continues to rage and grow. Everyone in the audience today is a reluctant member of the COVID Club. Many of us will be able to relate to the stories that I will share. And there's no PowerPoint because the numbers were just crunched yesterday. So instead, it's Shelley Baur sharing honest conversations. Hello, finding ourselves in a COVID new normal. For me, it was fascinating to talk with the 24 people that I interviewed. Most of them came from either corporate professionals, entrepreneurs, and nonprofit employees. Each had their preference for a technology platform and hybrid arrangements based on the needs of both the employees and their colleagues. Not surprisingly, Zoom was the #1 choice. Do I have any Zoomers in here who use that as their way to connect throughout? Yes. How many people in the Zoom audience are using Zoom as their primary technology for correcting? If you are, just say yes in chat so that we can get a head count. By show of hands in the room, how many of you are still dealing with the ramifications of pandemic upheaval in some form or fashion? Can I see a show of hands? Everybody. Oh, no, except for you. You would have been the perky one on the interviews that said, no problems here. For those of you who are gathered as part of the Survivors Club, and clearly it's not over yet. Right now, my mission is to help people win at work. It is with regret and a heavy heart that I witnessed firsthand what was happening in the staffing world. And it's still not pretty with families juggling a variety of crises. As you hear my stories, pay attention to the urgency of their problem language. It ranges from a low of 0 to a high of 19. Believe it or not, Leanne, there was one person with no stress whatsoever, and the remaining 23 expressed coming to terms with the continuing effects of COVID. Here is a range of examples that my research revealed. Number 1, he rated a 9. He was depressed over his father's death in his native country. His cousins helped with funeral arrangements, getting his mother all set with travel arrangements. And this person has been back to his home country 3 times this year, just because he wants to be there to help his mom transition. He says, I'm embracing change, taking turns with my wife to pick up my sons daily at school. Working from home, I have increased my productivity dramatically. My daily joy is being able to have breakfast together as a family and then playing, bonding with games and exercise daily after school. His physical and mental health has become number 1 priority. He ran 245 days last year, logging 1,000 miles. He focuses on empathy and dresses professionally for Zoom calls, just like he did when he was going to live meetings. Another 9. It's a woman engineer whose 30-year career was disrupted and shook stability. Her older son is on her insurance. He went to college 2 weeks after she was laid off. Her parents live out of town with no technology except for email. Her father had emergency surgery, and she traveled 5 hours to help mom with the care of her dad. Lots of upheaval in a span of 8 months. She's joining a new startup company. She's having to work harder than typically remotely and be accessible longer. Why, you ask? She's working on a virtual team in 3 time zones: the US, France, and Kenya. And you think we've got it bad? Next one, this is ranked an 8 urgency. This small business owner has experienced a changeover that's been ongoing and an almost overwhelming task. His solution was to hire a top-notch admin to take over these duties. He predicts that over time, COVID will result in serious negative impacts over the next 1 to 2 years. What is in his control is focusing on the end game, monitoring his health, and getting closer to his wife. He has stayed connected with classmates for the entire pandemic, and he wants to be more disciplined about handwritten notes and eating better. By the way, I need to pause. Handwritten notes, just received from Terry Murphy yesterday. There you go. Next is people with deaths in their family. And all I can say about that is they're healing their broken hearts. Next, watching their own personalities shrink, finding ways to reach out and connect. And one of my favorite ways is handwritten notes. What about yours? What are your favorite ways for staying connected to people who are important to you? Phone calls? Phone calls? FaceTime? FaceTime. We're staying connected with 2 of our couples friends on Zoom. We have a little cocktail Zoom at 5 o'clock on Sundays. We don't always drink, but we're together. Here's one, also a 7. Boy, 7's really won the day, and which means people are stressed. It means they're still, in that balling up mode. This one is enduring a heartbreak and betrayal, and she's fearing for her kids being used as pawns. Another one, losing their job, their insurance, their income, and losing her working family. She was saddened by a graduating senior son, had a disappointing graduation, like everybody has during COVID, and college professors, where he was going to school in 2 weeks, defaulted to Zoom lectures, even after the curriculum promised live lectures. We have an immune compromised person who no longer networks live. She masks, she Zooms, and she cleans everything like the germaphobe she claims to be. Here's another one. She works in the office every day, but weekends, business is doing well, but she worries greatly about her husband's health. Another 7. He's become more self-aware. He's reconnecting, more patient, accepting, tons of self-awareness in this one. heavy tug of goals weighing on him, believing that good things will happen and good people will come together. He is immune suppressed. Another number 7, the office completely moved. He has anxiety still with his colleague communication skills and new technologies. He never felt disconnected. He continued to talk to people and see people, etc. Another 7, everything turned upside down, and it largely still is. A family member had surgery, and the relatives contracted COVID. The new normal for this person had a range. At one point, she was a 2 on urgency index, and then she went all the way up to a 9. The new normal for this person was leaving a long-term career in the New York wholesale fashion industry. Her next promotion was to be a vice president. Then she was furloughed as COVID raged and homeschooled 3 sons, which was painfully stressful. Good news, she was heavily recruited to the financial services industry, and she's getting good feedback from her customers and her bosses. She's prospecting on LinkedIn and Facebook. She's stressed out about not meeting goals. She is re-engaged with a disciplined regimen of self-care, better sleep, back to the gym, and working from home 2 days a week. Can you resonate with any of these stories? Do you know someone who's going through these kinds of things? Yes. Now, we have someone who was another range of 2 to 9, no stress, almost no stress, all the way up to the max. Now she's at about a number 6. Her mother died in 2020, which was devastating. As COVID raged, her job still required 13 to 16-hour work weeks. I have other people in the room who can probably attest to that too. Right, McDonald's? She got sick after the Pfizer second shot, and manager took over her load for 3.5 weeks so she could get well. That's a place you want to work. Also, he covered her when she took 2.5 weeks to rest, reconnect, and normalize. She's now working from home 100% and creating an environment that really simulates being in person in front of someone. Her new normal is to focus daily on respecting others. If the client wears a mask, she wears a mask, and the interviewee follows suit. She's creating both live and virtual environment for safety and efficiency. We'll always love to hear about people putting safety first. This is a small business owner who ranged from 4 to 8. Small business owner family vacation was hijacked with a 2-year-old getting COVID and spreading it to everyone in the family. The gift that keeps on giving, right? He says, it's scary to think about kids dying. Can I get an amen? Amen. Amen. Concerned about the variant, worried about employees getting sick. Now the office is in hybrid mode and he misses his colleagues and his friends. Another 4 to 8 range. She's the manager of a headquarters office, which was deemed essential because of the mail delivery. Virtual demand has skyrocketed at this facility, with many more tenants needing physical addresses to open LLCs. Her husband was in a bad propane accident, 3 weeks in ICU with 2 surgeries. Distancing, manageable. Son transitioned to 9th grade, now wearing a mask 5 days a week in school. So you can see, I mean, it varies. On some days you're on top and some days you are flat on the ground. This person ranks herself as a 3. She is a lucky manager who has not experienced sick employees or staff shortages. Is there anybody in here who can say an amen to that? Is there anybody? Not really. Amen. She loves seeing people since Zoom misses the nuances of reading people, reading their body language. All communication channels are a priority for her. Her challenges are staying focused and organized while multitasking. Hello? Is that a dissonance? Here's one that ranks from a 2 to an 8. Cynical treatment of people blows my mind. Can I get an amen from the audience? Amen. Very troubling to him. Once his business was classified as essential, 2020 was by far the best year they ever had. But in 2021, 50% of that evaporated. This company always conducts business in an ethical manner, but the insurance companies seem to be abdicating. He has, this is the one and only who had no stress. This person had no issues whatsoever with COVID. Her interview was 100% joyful. I was just, it helped my heart to hear this. Teams have functioned remotely and far more productively, primarily because of wasted time visiting instead of staying focused on what needs to be done daily while in the real office. Her two daughters are completely responsible, good students making good grades. They know what to do and they stay focused, like mom, like daughters. The family has a weekend home 2 hours away that lets them enjoy nature and reconnect with friends on a regular basis. And then the last one, 1 to 2. As soon as COVID hit, the overriding goal was to make business better, with people coming back to the office. But their new value statement is, obstacles expand thinking. Let me say that again. Obstacles expand thinking. It featured how technology has influenced all of us. For example, we talked about the World Economics Forum survey that revealed 40% of employees are thinking of quitting their jobs. Her take was, maybe they want to start their own business, or a 2-income family may have to reallocate when one is furloughed. Her new normal was to move from the dining room table to the second floor, turning a bedroom into a space designed specifically for her needs. The company urged people to work remotely, quote, if you have appropriate capabilities. So they had choices. She works all the time. Many stories report, just across the board, of the presence, not being in the presence of a C-suite executive can prevent successful career building, but that has not been her experience at all. They use a technology platform that allows teams to share seamlessly without email intervention, and they leverage each other's drives and use virtual whiteboards. She works all the time, but confesses heightened self-awareness related to emotional intelligence, saying, if I can't find a way to walk in another person's shoes, it becomes both a challenge and an opportunity to strengthen relationships. We need to hear different points of view, to see one another's eyes and not alienate. Manage composure, pay attention to one's initial gut reaction, and if you're nervous, surprised, or alarmed, that has surfaced every day for her. These are the stories, the traumas, and the blessings that 24 people have shared with open hearts and open minds. If you know someone who would benefit from attending my 4-week pilot course this fall, please make a 3-way email introduction. It's Shelley@ShelleyBaur.com. And at the very least, they will walk away with a practical application for a 6-behavior model of communicating and a PDF of my book, Integrity-Based Communications, Using Truth to Build High-Trust Relationships. If you're interested in learning more, please see me today or reach out by email, Shelley@ShelleyBaur.com. And perhaps even more, enjoy co-creating a course that changes lives for the better. Thank you so much for your rapt attention, and I appreciate being back at Talk Shop. This is home.
Shelley, how do we contact you?
Shelley@ShelleyBaur.com.
All right, so you've heard it again.
Shelley, Baur, BAUR.com.
Spell your last name.
That's right.
BAUR.
Right.
Well, Shelley, you did great. We've got a few extra minutes. Troy, if you want to come up and let's let our people that came in late introduce themselves. If you guys
sure.
want to do
Let's
that.
do it.
All right.
Let's
And
do
remember to put your name and your contact information in the chat log, especially your email, because we're going to send you the chat log following Talk Shop so that you can do what?
Bam,
Bam, bam. Yes, book a meeting from a meeting. Hey, Thomas Lannon, good to see you.
Well,